So speaking of the film, so you guys kind of jumped into making that live action trailer real. I was so shocked to see that. I was like,
Yeah.
holy cow, they're going, like, the animated stuff was cool. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. And then you did the live thing. What made you go like, hey, let's just do it?
I mean, mainly because I wanted to dip my toes in it. Number one, I'm just like, I didn't make any of this stuff thinking that, you know, I'm gonna be able to, like, I don't know, just sell gangbusters. I can say that about the comic, right? The same thing can be said about the animations that we've done with Rippaverse Studios as well as the live action stuff. And I love that people love what we've done there, and us dipping our toes with Rippaverse Studios into those elements of live action as well as animation. And I wanted to do it because I really wanted to see these characters come to life. And I also wanted to really support like the actual books, right? I wanted to be something that was not necessarily just a branching off, but to really like tell a different, because, you know, it's like whether they're dealing with film or animation, live action or what have you, there's only so much you can do on whatever medium as far as the story that you're telling. Okay. And what I wanted to do was, okay, what would it look like? What would an animated, which was the first thing that we did was ISOM number 2. What would an animated ISOM look like? What would a live action Yaira look like? And we were able to entertain that stuff and just see what how the audience felt about it. And both of those are concepts that we want to continue to invest in. It was fun. It was a learning experience for it. And obviously me having the Soskas helped out with the live action stuff, cause they've been there and done that. So, you know, learning about being on those types of sets, in a more executive role. Like I've been on sets obviously before, I mean, especially and music and all the music videos that we had done in the past. Like I've been on set, but in that chair, it was different. And I learned a lot about that experience. So we just want to, with everything that the company does, I just want the audience to understand that this is something that I take very serious, that I'm very invested in. And one way to show that is to do other things than what we set out to do and trying to expand.
Yeah. Yeah, I just appreciate that. I think, you know, you've just gone about things such a cool way of
Appreciate it.
You know, I don't know if it's even going to work, but let's just try it and see what anyone, you know, it's like just not having that fear of failing is just really, I mean, you have the fear of it, but you do it anyways, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way that I see it, glad you brought that up, because I mean, if there's nothing else that I could tell like these creators, it's like, just give it a shot. Because, and look, yes, there is a chance that something doesn't live up to maybe what you wanted it to. Maybe it, is, under, like, you don't think is received as well. Maybe it's something that you do that. Yes, that can happen, but it's also part of the process. Like nobody bets 100 with anything. And that goes to the greats in any industry. Doesn't matter what that creative industry is. The best songwriters in the world that wrote songs that weren't received well by the audience. Best singers, best artists, best, you know, yes, there's stories that people didn't like that Jack Kirby did, right? Like it happens. Or like, as far as an artist is concerned, or that Stan Lee wrote, or like, yes, that can happen. And you need to be prepared for that and understand. That's why I say just give it a shot so you can prepare yourself. I came from the music business, so it wouldn't have hurt my feelings at all. If if I put out something and somebody said, well, I don't like ISOM, like whatever, like I'm not going to lose sleep over that at all. Because I wrote songs that people didn't like. I've been doing this for very long. So it's going to happen. But you also can have what happened with the Rippaverse, where it is something that just blows up and people are interested in it. Like that can also happen. So you might as well give it a shot, and don't fear that, you know, you might not succeed initially. Like that, I just say give it a shot. Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a discussion with someone not even that long ago about, we were working on a creative project for something, and I was like, I've been a creative a long time, so you're not going to hurt my feelings. Like, just say whatever you got to say so we can make this the right thing, you know? And I think that's, especially I would say to like anyone who they're on the fence of like even starting their creative project of like for rejection or failure or whatever you may be thinking, it's like you have, if you never do it, that'll be worse than
Right.
trying it and failing, you know?
Right. Agreed. And 1000%, you got to. I mean, and that's just, I think as a creator, you have to approach it that way. I think this is why a lot of people, especially that cross into like the main or cross over from like the mainstream, like when I say mainstream, I'm just referring to like the old guard standard of doing X entertainment thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have a hard time going from that to being like independent because there's a lot more harsh realities that Mammoth sort of shielded you from.
Mm-hmm.
And that direct feedback is one of them, right? When you're working like in the Hollywood or whatever, they commission you to do your job and then that's it. Even if people like reject what it is that you produced, you got your bread. The buck doesn't necessarily stop with you. There's all these other people that are involved that the blame could be passed to. But when you're doing something independently, it doesn't work like that, right? It's like you put something out and you're getting that direct feedback with that audience, and the buck stops with you. If you are an independent, you can't really fall back on that mega corporation. So that's why I'm saying no matter where you come from, if you came from that side or you're just a newbie just trying to do things your way, it's part of the game. And the quicker you can realize that and the quicker you give it a shot, the better you can improve. Like we've had some duds obviously happen with the Rippaverse as far as like even just technically how our website works, right? There's L's that we've taken there with functionality, a problem that we for sure had. And we've had to take that on the chin and move on, just like anybody that's doing some work salt would do. But you get to learn from it, right? You get to say, okay, well, that's just not how you do things. There's so much stuff that I've done as part of this process, both creatively as well as with the business side of it. It's tough, and I've done a bunch of things, and it's like, oh, well, it didn't quite work, and I don't have to keep doing it. I can just say, all right, well, let's change it. Let's just try to do a better version of it. And that's why the quicker you can just put stuff out, the quicker you can make an adjustment. And that to me, it should be your approach.